Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Friday. I'm joined by the man himself, Don Hassam. How are you, bro?
I'm good. Back for another Straight Facts. So much that's happened since we last spoke as well. So we're here to discuss it all. Big up to the Terrace as well and the Terrace comment section. Big up to you guys all. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're sharing the videos as well. So yeah, it's a long summer ahead, but we got you on this channel, so stay tuned, my lovely people.
Absolutely, and we're touching on Declan Rice, done deal. Urian Timber will be a done deal. A bid for Caicedo coming in around £80 million. We're delving into Liverpool signing another midfielder. That's progressing and advancing for Szoboszlai. And we're looking at Man United, who are expected, according to Damasio, to bid tonight for Andre Onana. No one's quite sure exactly what. We're touching on the takeover at Manchester United as well. Our media, actually, Hassam, are writing some nice things about Sheikh Jassim. They're writing nice things about him now. Who knew that would happen? But I wanted to start off with Liverpool, mate, because you signed McAllister a few weeks back, which everybody sort of expected based on what was happening towards the end of the season. But now, you guys are oozing with confidence again when it comes to signing Dominik Szoboszlai. The deal was advanced. There's a thought that it could complete very, very soon. Around £60 million is the outlay, which is a big commitment. Talk to me about this guy.
Oh God, this whole signing came out of nowhere. It's just such a typical Liverpool thing. Like, we're sat here talking about all the other midfielders, and just out of nowhere, this whole thing happens. Even if you're really watching the Liverpool circles or the Liverpool transfer rumors, the news, you're looking at people talking about, Kefren Turam, Manu Kone, Gabri Veiga, people like that. And just out of nowhere, this whole Szoboszlai thing just happens. Like, literally, if you see just before these last 24 hours, people have been talking about Szoboszlai as in, like, he's a player I take type thing. But no one ever said, like, he's coming to Liverpool. It wasn't even transfer rumor. No ITK even brought it up. Like, it wasn't even a thing. And we just wake up today, yesterday night, and suddenly it's become a thing. Like, Szoboszlai is coming to Liverpool. When I did one of the Liverpool shows earlier on this summer with Tom Little, who's also a member of this channel, and I said, like, Szoboszlai would actually be in my ideal midfield three. My ideal midfield three was McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Ugarte. Obviously, Ugarte is gone.
I want to see everything.
Actually, I have video proof. And Ugarte is gone now because I thought we needed a DM. But with Szoboszlai, he's essentially exactly what's needed on that right-hand side. He's got the physical attributes. He's got the pace. He's got the power. He's got the creativity. And he's going to add something that we've been missing for such a long time. We haven't had a goal-scoring midfielder since Steven Gerrard. That's just the God honest truth. Since he left Liverpool Football Club, we've not had a single goal-scoring midfielder, a guy that can put the ball in the back of the net from midfield, sometimes uplifting some of that pressure and removing some of that pressure from the front three. So it's just too much pressure on the front three, and a midfielder like that who can chime in with goals, with assists, is 100% needed. And it means I am one step away now from essentially never having to see Henderson play for my football club again. I'm not going to scapegoat the guy or anything. I'm going to say thank you, or the Liverpool captain, all of that nice stuff. I'm going to give him a hug in the typical club way. But now he moves out to the team. People mentioning Coutinho in the comments. Guys, Coutinho played probably 70% of the time on the left wing. Let's also remember where he played. He played more like a left wing. He wasn't really a midfielder like that. Not like an 8, I'm saying a goal scoring 8. So that's something that changes for us. He gives us creativity. So it's a very, 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 very good signing. I read somewhere as well that City were interested in him. I believe Newcastle were looking at him as well. So he's someone who's definitely looked at properly around Europe. And 60 million ain't that much anymore. 60 million is the equivalent of 10 years ago of 20 mil. That's just the reality. 10 years ago, 20 mil is today 60. That's just the unfortunate truth.
Absolutely. And the fact he's got a buyout clause makes it. I know the buyout clause runs out today, but a lot of the reports have suggested unless Liverpool get stupid and go 30, that they're going to compromise on that slightly. But £60 million for a player as talented as him, I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend like I've watched him play 1,000 times. I haven't. But what you read, what I have seen, go and read scouting. The great thing is about this deal, if you read scouting reports that are only a week old, they're not written by sort of biased Liverpool journalists, people trying to big this deal up. People are quite honest and open about it. And there's a lot of good things to be said about him. And, that's him and McAllister, if of course, as and when it completes. But McAllister and him added to that midfield, youthful exuberance, energy, quality on the ball. It's got the ability to be really transformative for Liverpool. Still think they need more areas to be covered. I think we get the feeling that Trent will move more regularly into a midfield role. Whether he does that as the hybrid from right back, or whether they start him in midfield in the same way that Gareth Southgate did for England a couple of weeks ago, still remains to be seen. But you're very, very good business. And it isn't just great that you've got a player of that quality. You've stopped Newcastle getting him. And I think there's always an added. Said to a few United fans yesterday about Mason Mount. Look, people can disagree as to whether or not it's a good deal for us or not. But most Liverpool fans believed he would have been dynamite for Jurgen Klopp. And at the very least, we've stopped that from happening. We've stopped Jurgen Klopp getting a massive target for his club. And there's something to be said about
Thank God.
Well, yeah, from your point of view, thank God. Absolutely. But of course, this was your second choice in that more attacking midfield role. And I think that it's good for you that you've stopped Newcastle strengthening their team at the same time as getting a player very high up on your list, if that makes sense. I think it's really.
And you know what it is? It's funny you mentioned Newcastle. Here's why I sometimes like discourse with football fans. Sometimes is like, oh, Spuerchat obviously is gonna go to the Champions League club. He wants Champions League football. Just because a club has Champions League football does not automatically make them more attractive than other clubs. Like, with all due respect, let's assume for the sake of argument, Man City finished 5th this year. Somehow, some sort of miracle happened. They finished 5th. They would still be probably the most attractive club for any player to go to in the Premier League. From Liverpool's perspective, our problem has been the same. Finances. Our problem is we haven't spent enough. We haven't spent a lot. We haven't, we haven't really, how can I say, like, we haven't spent when we were at the top as well. So that's something that has set us back. But from our perspective, we know we have the pull. We know we can attract players over other clubs in the Prem. Our only problem is we just don't put the money on the table. But that does not mean that you don't have pull. I still believe to this very second, I think currently, I'm not delusional, I think City are the most attractive club for any player to go to in the Premier League. I'd put us second because there's so many things that go into a player being attracted to a football club. It's not necessarily just, oh my God, who has Champions League? If that was the case, then all the Champions League clubs would just strengthen and all the other teams would get weaker. When it comes to that whole situation, like, you've got the attraction of playing under Jurgen Klopp. You've got playing alongside other world-class players. So come play next to Salah, play next to Van Dijk, play next to Alisson, play next to Trent, play next to these guys. So all of these things, they matter. I think when it comes to the Premier League, I'd still say probably Liverpool are the second most attractive club to go to if you were a football player. Us putting down the money is a separate argument because I still think we could pull these world stars, but could we put the money on the table is the real problem with our football club.
Yeah, I understand that. And that's been the problem with FSG for a long time. You built a team that for 18 months to 2 years was better than Man City's team. Yes, they beat you to that first title race you were in with them, but you were the momentum and trajectory you took forward into the next season. You won the Champions League that same year, I think, as well. You were better than them. The next year, you battered them to the league title. But instead of doing what Arsenal have done this summer in terms of going out, again, you may not agree with the profile of the player or the individuals, but their manager does. They've gone out and gone, bang, 200 million to improve again. City, they've just won the treble, but they've gone and got Kovacic. They've tried to get Declan Rice. They're going to drop around 100 million on Guardiola. This is exactly what Liverpool and FSG should have been doing. Like, this 60 million pounds that you're spending on this guy, yes, you got McAllister cheaper because of the buyout clause. That is a level of quality and or above that you should have been signing since 2018, 2019, 2020. You should have continued to add to your squad in that way. Move players like Milner's, like Henderson's that are past their best on sooner. That kind of over loyalty or cutting corners and scrimping and scraping on the pennies. Oh, look, we can get another year out of Henderson rather than buying someone better than Henderson for £80 million. That's the reason City have won 5 Prems in 7 years. And in that same period, you only have one. And I think if Liverpool would have invested properly, if FSG would have backed Klopp correctly, I still think City may have won a few more than you, but the score wouldn't be 5-1.
Yeah, I think it was a minimum had one more. Minimum had one more.
It might have been, it might have been 2-4 as an example. But you even think about how close you came to winning those 2 other Champions Leagues. You might have one more of them. You definitely have, if you invested more, a few more domestic trophies. Then the era looks far more competitive between the two of you than it does, and that's why. Look, as a Man United fan, you spent so much money and you won nothing. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm frustrated and I'm annoyed. You're the other end of the spectrum. You've won brilliant things, but you still probably haven't spent enough to double the amount of trophies or triple the amount of trophies that you've won. And, it isn't just about spending money, it's spending it wisely. But your club's got such a good proven record of buying quality. To not spend like a giant club consistently, it must be frustrating. So, yeah, seeing this deal, taking your spend up to nearly 100 million for the summer so far. We're only in June. I think it's brilliant for Liverpool. I really do.
And I'll say this because you mentioned FSG. Here's my problem, because as you refer to it as always, communist Merseyside. The problem is it's not even communist Merseyside anymore. It's just communist Liverpool fans from wherever. Some are from Hull, for example. No need to mention names. So when it comes to this whole FSG conversation, what I find real funny, and this for me is the thing that's the most frustrating thing right now. People are already on Twitter and going stuff like, where's like the FSG out brigade now? Where are the people speaking up against FSG now? Just because of this whole Spuerchat thing. I'm like, first of all, we're not even done for this summer. Spuerchat and McAllister is not a good enough window. We need more. We need a centre back. At least bare minimum, we need another centre back. Right? So we shouldn't even be done this summer with just those two to begin with. I still am FSG out because it's about sustained success. It's about success at the top. It's not about you just get me to the top one time and then you dip and then you come tell me, oh, we signed Spuerchat. Are you still FSG out? Of course I'm FSG out. Of course. That will only change if you give me 2 years of consistent spend, 3 years of consistent spend. You're showing me ambition. You're showing me that. Then that's when I will turn and I'll be like, okay, FSG, now you have my support. But as of today, you can't be like coming on here going like, oh my God, Spuerchat has signed for Liverpool. Where are the FSG out brigade? I'm like, bro, that's not even enough for this summer to begin with. And before you even get to changing people's minds. So I think people are jumping the gun and going like, I've seen people going like Liverpool are back and all of this. No, we're not back. Everyone needs to chill step by step. Right now, as soon as Spuerchat is seen wearing that Liverpool shirt, the ultimate priority immediately becomes the centre back. That's the ultimate priority for us now. And it's just like the absolute next step, because we've got 4 injury-prone centre backs, and we do not want to have the same situation that we had in 2020, 2021, where we were top of the league in January. But because we had no serious centre backs and we had to play Fabinho and Henderson there and blah, 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 we ended up just absolutely collapsing. So we need a centre back next. And it'll be great if we get another midfielder too. So we've got so much that still needs to be done just this window. And so you can't be asking already people to change their opinion based on one signing. With all due respect, it's not like they signed Mbappe or they signed like people are acting like we signed Mbappe or Messi or Prime Kaká or something like.
People do that. People live in 2023. People live in the exceptions rather than the rules. It's always the exception. Rather, spending 60 million on Szoboszlai is not the general rule for FSG. It's the exception. Therefore, it's not going to change anybody's minds. There's a super chat here that says Arsenal are definitely more attractive than Liverpool right now. Arsenal have a young squad full of superstars, and we have shown we will spend now.
Here's my thing, Comdian. I appreciate you for the super chat, but if I'm calling Spuerchat right now, we've got Terry, who's Arteta, I'm Klopp. When I go pitch it to Spuerchat, he is going to talk about Champions League football. He's going to talk about challenging for the league, exciting project. With me, I'm an elite manager, Jurgen Klopp. I've got 5-6 elite players, and I've got a project that has shown it's won. This is the difference. So Liverpool Football Club as an institution have lifted the Prem. We've lifted the champs. We've won it all. So a player that's coming in here has seen us have recent success. This is the biggest difference between us both is we've seen recent success. 2020 we were 2020 we were Premier League winners. 2019 we were Champions League winners. So just 3 years ago we won the two biggest trophies. We've seen it, and a lot of the core players are still here. And if you're Spuerchat, for example, would you rather play with all due respect, with Salah or Saka? You'd rather play with Salah. Would you rather play with Van Dijk or Saliba? Van Dijk. Would you rather play with Alisson or Ramsdale? Alisson. Why? Because these players have made podiums. These players have made World 11s. These players, some of them almost won Ballon d'Ors. They've won so much individually and as a collective. So with Arsenal Football Club, it's not an insult to you. By the way, even Declan Rice that you've signed, if we came in for him and we paid 105 million, he'd be a Liverpool player now, regardless of you having Champions League or not. It's just the attraction levels are different because of the manager, because of the players, because of all of that. It's not simply who has Champions League and who has younger players. Also, having younger players does not make you more attractive to other players anyway. Like, do you think someone's going to come on and go like, oh my God, yeah, like, let me look at the average age of the squad? No one coming into Arsenal is going to care about that. So yeah, that's what I'd say. I have no problem with Arsenal though. You guys know it's all love with Arsenal.
Viewers, make sure like buttons are being hit. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. This here says, do you think the defense of Liverpool is getting weaker now that we've invested a small budget into the midfield?
And Murad, that's exactly why earlier on, just 3 minutes ago, I told Terry we're not back. That's why I said this whole where is the FSG out brigade thing is laughable. We need a centre back. That's just the reality. Right now, we need as soon as Spuerchat is wearing the Liverpool shirt, go get a centre back directly. Like it's just it becomes ultimate priority.
This is Terry. How are we going to free Suki from Nish? EastEnders is heating up with that storyline. Don't quite know yet. I've got a feeling he might be the guy that dies on Christmas, but we'll see if Suki can get away from Nish on EastEnders. F me, that's some strong tea he's drinking. Yeah, they're coming for you.
Matt, can I just say one thing to the Arsenal fans? Let me just say this to the Arsenal fans, right? Liverpool in 13-14, we finished second, right? Now, that same Liverpool side versus that Arsene Wenger Arsenal side. If I ask a football player in 2014, who would you rather move to? 99% of the people are saying Arsenal. Like, it's just, please don't think just because you finished above me 1 year, suddenly you'll become more attractive to come to. That's not how the life works. That's not how life works. Because using your logic, Newcastle was linked to Spuerchat. They're in the Champions League. They're an exciting project. Why didn't he end up at Newcastle? See? It goes both ways. So all the things I said come into account when it comes to attracting and pulling a player.
Nabil here says, FSG in forever, inshallah. Eid Mubarak too.
Thank you, Nabil. And hopefully
Sam speaking sense once again. FSG might get the deal done, but this should have been done last summer. I have no confidence in FSG for the long-term success of the team. I hear that. I hear what you're saying. My brother gave me such a good example the other day. He asked me a question, he caught me out, and I'll ask you the same question. If you see someone walking around the local town, local village, local city, collecting rubbish, would you typically say they're doing a good job and they're a good person?
Yeah, of course.
But what if they're on community service?
Then that's different.
Yeah, I was like, bro, what do you mean? He said, well, because he was talking about Chelsea. He goes, all right, but they were annoying him, and he's like, yes, they're doing great business now, but it's only because they've got to fix what they broke. So I'm not going to praise them until I see like the fruits of their labor. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I get the logic. This year says, when do you think things will change at Liverpool?
We could change it this summer, really. All we need is just a midfielder. For me, look, I'm not even going to complain too much. If we just get a centre back, I think we could definitely revitalize ourselves next season. Because Terry will tell you this, the people who are watching will tell you this right now. Liverpool have never had a problem scoring goals. Liverpool's problem, everyone knows. It's like Liverpool fans have spoken on it so much. It's just becoming ingrained into everyone's mind. Like if I ask a Spurs fan what's wrong with Liverpool, he'll tell you midfield. So yeah, that's what we need to fix. And after that, I think we're good to go. I think we could win the league next season if we get a centre back, proper centre back.
Really win the league?
Of course. I think Liverpool, if we get a centre back, we could definitely win the English Premier League. There's no reason why we shouldn't win it. I think we've proven we're proven winners of the Premier League. We've done it once before, under Jurgen Klopp. But we do need a centre back, though. That's the thing. We need a serious centre back. Spuerchat and McAllister is unbelievable additions. But you look at next season, Europa League. So essentially, we've got no serious European football until April. So you've got essentially 1 game a week to play your starters. The signings of Spuerchat and McAllister absolutely propels our midfield compared to what we had to watch this season, for example. But there's one missing piece, which is the centre back. If we do get a centre back, then I think we could definitely win the league next season. 1 game a week with Klopp coaching these guys for like the important game on the weekend, I'd easily back us to beat 90% of the league. That's just the reality. And you look at our results this season. I'm not even saying we should beat like Man United away or Man City away or something. If we just beat Palace and Bournemouth and Brighton and Wolves and the teams that we were quote unquote expected to beat, we'd be up there anyway. So that's the difference for me.
This here says the funniest thing about my guy was doing late night streams for Qatar buying Liverpool. How's that turning out? That Qatar Twitter tag was awesome too.
That whole Qatar thing is honestly that was the best time ever for me. I was like, man, we're finally gonna make it out, and then it just came crashing down just a month later. Is what it is, man.
Please take that cup away from him, is what George said.
Guys, this cup has black coffee in it, I promise. All it has is black coffee, nothing else.
We'll come back to there's some tweets about Arsenal. We'll come back to them when we get onto their section a little bit. Sorry, not tweets, super chats on Arsenal. Leng and Sweet here says Salah was overrated. The guy is not even better than Sane and Mane, both miles better than better footballers than Salah. Just elite scorer. Eye test over stat pads. Neymar is better too.
Leng and Sweet, if I'm seeing the profile picture correctly, you're a City fan. If there's 2 fan bases in this league that will just they're forced to respect Mo Salah, it's your fan base and Terry's fan base, because Salah scored so many goals against both Man United and Man City. That's just like, man, this guy I'm just not even going to say anything negative about him. When it comes to Salah, he's not overrated. On his bad season, he has 19 goals. He scored more goals than Saka, who's the team of the season right winger on a bad year. You understand? So if he had a good year, that's 10 more goals. So he's not overrated at all. And goal scoring is by far the most difficult trait. For the love of God, look, if you're a forward, look at the Chelsea players. Chelsea have had 2 good strikers in the modern era of the Premier League. Costa and Drogba. That's it. They've had no other good striker. They won the league with Drogba. They won it with Costa. With others, they didn't win it at all because goal scoring matters. Please understand, when Mo Salah leaves this league, this is when everyone's going to sit back and go like, just 10 years ago, we said 13 goals and 8 assists for a winger is like a great season. Salah had like 19 and 13 this season. I'm like, man, he could do better. And you're calling him overrated. Come on, man. What are we doing here? Come on, man.
This here says look like Liverpool are going to move Trent inverted. It's the way of the game now. So Liverpool will be back once they figure out the defense, is what Zizou says here.
100%.
I'm just glad that it's one thing I very rarely do. I told you so, but I told everybody this man is no right back. He is a brilliant playmaker. As soon as he's put into those positions, he's just sensational. Without criticism. No, I mean it, because the thing with Trent is as great as he was on the ball when he was playing as an out-and-out right back going up and down the line, his defensive deficiencies were costing Liverpool. When your team was at the peak of its powers and you were able to outscore everybody, it was covered up. That hole in the team, that problem was covered up. There was, it was a band-aid over it, but it's never healed. And as your team become less potent as a collective, the flaws in Trent's game started to protrude. Defenders should get better with age. He appeared to be getting worse. I don't think he was. I just think the team wasn't as good, so he was being exposed. As soon as he got moved into that inverted role and somebody else was covering his defensive areas, you just saw a different level Trent. This is back to being world-class Trent Alexander-Arnold. So if he's as good next season in midfield as we saw in that last 2 months and for England, you guys have got a brilliant chance next year. There's no doubt about it.
As an inverted right back, Terry. He's an inverted right back.
Yeah, but listen, I don't agree with any of that stuff. Like, for me, I don't judge a player based on...
So do you call Zinchenko a midfielder and Cancelo a midfielder?
Yeah, probably. And a reason why I do that now is I look at heat maps. So I'll give you an example. If you look at Sky Sports, when they show the position that Bruno Odegaard, and KDB starting, they'll often turn around and they look like they're playing different roles. But you watch their general heat maps over a season, they pick up the exact same areas on the pitch. So therefore, the formation isn't really key. It's the areas in which a player finds himself in and has the majority of his play dictates what they are. Trent he's a midfielder, he's a playmaker more than he is a right back. The starting position may be right back, but the role he takes up in the team is that of a playmaker. So I judge him.
No, I agree with you. I think that's right. My problem is this season, no one called Zinchenko midfielder. Last season, no one called Cancelo midfielder. Like,
no, I agree with you.
We called them inverted fullbacks.
No,
so
I get
within
that.
an inverted fullback.
No, I understand, but maybe it's understanding what inverted fullback means. And the reason why I pull on it is because people will say Ashley Cole and and Zabaleta and Dennis Irwin and Ryan and Gary Neville. They never got assists and numbers like this at fullback because the role of fullback has now changed. You're comparing an apple with an orange and expecting it to taste similar, and it's never going to do that. We have to be very, very fair when we talk about these individuals, and modern day fullbacks that play in inverted midfield roles or as wingers, essentially. Of course, certain statistics of theirs are going to be higher than those of yesteryear, but then we have to judge them essentially on that. And that's probably why I'm calling it out, because the roles are completely different,
I agree. Just like you can't compare Beckham and Salah using GA.
Yeah,
it's two totally different roles.
Totally different. Trent's more comparable to Beckham in terms of you look at their heat maps when they both played. It's the positions on the pitch they take up. There's just been a change in terms of where
football's changed in general when it comes to that position.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. This here says, "Where's my first super chat?" Yeah, we'll bring that up because we're going to move on to the Arsenal stuff later, and makes more sense in the Arsenal section, my friend. Sometimes I'll save super chats for the section that it's most relevant to. Otherwise, the show doesn't have a flow to it, and it becomes really choppy and up and down.
I love that super chat though. Man said, "I want my airtime." That's a great super chat.
You'll get your airtime, bro. Trust me. Just stay with the show. Salah is a stat padder. Okay, so is Haalandinho. It's a great response. And Lengen Sweet has Haaland in his profile as well, and they're the same player. They're the same player. Could got Guardiola last year. FSG are running you. Absolutely. I think he'd agree with that.
100% winner done. 100%. They are the winners.
Arsenal supporters think they won the league before the season starts. We'll come back to that one a little bit later in the show, my friend.
The Arsenal stuff's heating up in this comment section. I can't lie to you.
When is Salah getting replaced? And with whom?
I have a theory. I don't know if Terry agrees with this. I think Salah's way more likely to be a Lewandowski as to where he's scoring goals till he's like 35, 36 because of the way he takes care of his body. He doesn't drink alcohol. He doesn't do any of that. So like you're looking at someone just from a sports science perspective could probably perform till he's 35, 36 and give you easily. Like when I look at Salah as a 36-year-old, 35-year-old, I could even see him playing striker and still getting you 18, 19 goals. That's how I look at him, honestly.
Yeah, I think Salah to me looks like he's got, as you say, 4 or 5 years at the very best. Look, he's in great shape. He's never overweight. Eats good. As you say, not drinking alcohol. Look, I look at Jack Grealish, and personally, I have no issue with him getting as drunk as he did. Each to their own. I'm sure off camera he was being taken care of. He was fine. But if you drink like that, even twice a month as an athlete, you've got a shorter career than someone that doesn't drink alcohol, because there is no form of healthy alcohol that isn't good for you. Having said that, Ryan Giggs used to enjoy a couple of bottles of wine, and he went on to be 40 as well. So it's sometimes it comes down to natural physicality as well. Viewers, we're going to continue talking. We've got Chelsea news coming up. We're talking Arsenal as well. A lot of the super chats I haven't put out yet are Arsenal related, so we will come back to them in the Arsenal section. Comdine here says, has this transfer window not shown you anything? You have seen our poll. Okay, we'll come back to that, but that's Arsenal related as well. We'll come back to that one a bit later in the show, my friend. I wanted to ask you your opinion on Onana, because according to it's really weird what's going on right now. So the Italian press believe a bid is coming today or this evening. The English media is kind of talking about it, saying United are interested. Some saying talks are advancing. Some saying it's preliminary. Some stating we've got to sell before we buy. Of course, De Gea's contract officially runs out at midnight tonight. I really believe we're in for Onana. I truly believe Man United are going to try and sign him. How much of a transformative seismic signing do you think this could be to how Man United play football?
Oh, this is how they play football. Oh, unbelievable change. Unbelievable change. Onana is the polar opposite to De Gea when it comes to that that side of like transforming the way you play football. Oh, he's gonna change it. He's gonna change it. Like when it comes to that whole thing, because you've got essentially a keeper who I'd say is easily levels above De Gea when it comes to the passing side of things. When it comes to the passing side of things, Onana is definitely like he's an unbelievably clear of like De Gea when it comes to passing. So I think that's something that he gives you from that element. And I think Onana would be an unbelievably smart signing for Manchester United. Unbelievably smart signing. You look at the keepers right now. I know you guys were kind of looking at Costa a little bit. I think Costa's a bit overrated. I'm not going to lie. I think Onana is a better shot stopper than Costa. So I think that's something that puts him above him, and he costs less. I know there was like some sort of faraway link with Pickford, which probably would have drove your fan base into meltdown, knowing the people that we know who are United fans, that would have definitely been a meltdown. So you look at the goalkeeper options right now, and I can't lie to you, from the two you could buy as a big club currently, they're both in Italy. It's Maignan and it's Onana. So those two are the ones that you could really elevate your team with. That's just the reality of the situation. Unless somehow like you go sign a Courtois or something, which isn't going to happen. So we're saying from a realistic perspective. From a realistic perspective, it's those two who are available on the market who you could improve your team with. So I think Onana is an absolutely unbelievable signing. He changes the way you play football just based on his passing ability. You've got someone who can facilitate as a goalkeeper. But here's where the food doesn't make sense. You're taking 5-star Michelin pasta, right? But you're putting wrong ingredients with it. Because from my understanding, because they're both interlinked, I'm sorry, Terry, I'm going to have to say it. With Mason Mount, it is the polar opposite of what Onana offers you. When you look at the midfield three of Casemiro, Bruno, and Mount, you're looking at a counter-attacking midfield three that will kill you on the counter-attack. Now, how does that become productive for you when you get someone like Onana, who's good in possession for Manchester United? So for me, it's two signings that, one's unbelievable in Onana. One, I think, is going to fail. I've said it publicly multiple times in Mason Mount, and I said he would have failed at my club anyway, before the people think I'm hating. And I'm just looking at it from the perspective of, okay, so you signed Mount, which shows me you want to counterattack like mad. And now you're signing Onana, which shows me you want to keep possession. Which now I'm sat here like, okay, so what is happening in the kitchen? That's what I'm asking.
Well, I look at it this way. To address that, the window's not shut. We're going to buy more people. And, you were somebody that didn't think United would do very well last year with who we signed, and we kind of proved you wrong there. So with all due respect to you, I'm going to take your opinion on my club on this one with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because you're completely proven wrong on that. I feel like with Onana and why he's key, if we go back to when United had Peter Schmeichel and Van der Sar, they were the last two great teams we had. De Gea was part of a very good team 10 years ago that won a Premier League. But our last two great teams, we had Van der Sar and we had Peter Schmeichel. Schmeichel at the time was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world, bar none. And Edwin van der Sar was looked at as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Now, they were from an era where goalies didn't need to be amazing with their feet. Schmeichel actually had a skill set where he could throw the ball at nobody else, and he used to start counterattacks from his throw, which is just, you don't see anymore. For Man United to be able to compete with City, with Liverpool, with Arsenal, with the best European teams now, we need a world-class goalkeeper. Great teams always have top-class to world-class goalkeepers, and Onana is that for me. And I think he makes us 10 points a season better off. Forget his shot stopping. I'm talking purely about his ability to find range. Go back and watch his highlights. There's a comp that's going around that shows all his passes during the Champions League final. And there's 2 or 3 that didn't come off. But this guy can break lines with his passing from the edge of the box. So I understand your point. Will we be a better possession-based team with him, with buying Mount? Yes, I believe we will. Why? Because teams don't press you as much when you have a goalkeeper of his passing ability, which means you'll build up from the back. When Man United aren't being pressed at the back, we hold on to the ball longer. If we do get pressed, he'll find our midfielders who therefore will be in space. And you could essentially call that, if you bypass a press with one pass and you take 5-6 players out the game, you're essentially in a counter-attack because you've bypassed that press and you've got space to run into. It's not called a transitional attack or a counter-attack, but the premise is exactly the same. So I believe we'll buy more anyway, but I think this could be a huge and seismic signing for us, and we'll definitely change how we play football next year. We'll build up more plays. We'll have more of the ball. And I just hope the bid does go in tonight. I genuinely do, because if it does, it's to have Mount and Onana by practically the end of June, ready for pre-season, I think it's huge for our ability next year to challenge for the Premier League, because that has to be the standard, that we go and challenge for that Premier League.
I respect the fact that you found a way to answer that question. Like I thought I had a got you there moment, but you found a way around it. But deep down, they're kind of opposites in what they bring. But you know what? We will see. The one thing where you're right on is Onana is an unbelievable shot stopper too. Onana is not Ederson, with all due respect. Oh, sorry, City fans. Onana is better than Ederson. I hate to break it to you. Onana is not Ederson. So it's not like he just can pass, but shot stopping is not that good. No, he's unbelievable shot stopper too. So he has both sides of things. So, listen, we'll see. We'll see. I think by the time probably the third, fourth Premier League game arrives, you would know exactly what Ten Hag's trying to do, because I'll be a liar if I say I know what he's trying to do. I'm going to be honest with you. So we will see. We'll see.
No, I understand. And a lot of United fans are sort of stating right now, we have no idea, what's going on. United will sign some other players. We will make other signings. I think we will progress. I think we'll have more of the ball next year. We'll create more chances, and we'll see what happens. Equally, though, if he can't find a player of a certain role that's high up on his priority lists, he'll do what he did last year. He'll look at another position on the pitch and improve that. So that's all I see him doing, if that makes sense. I also think the Man United takeover is going to be key in all of this, because if we are slightly hamstrung financially without the takeover, if the takeover happens, I think you'll see the club go out for a couple of players that maybe are not being spoken about right now, and banks get broken, records get broken to bring them in. And if we were to add a Frankie de Jong to this team this year as an example player, and still go and get Harry Kane because we've got the money, suddenly the Mount and the Onana deal, I think, would make a lot more sense to people, if you get where I'm coming from. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's a real good one for us, and we'll see. Nabil here says, I'm all for a new goalkeeper, but where I disagree is current treatment of David De Gea. He served the club for 12 years. Man United and fans should treat him better. Look, I agree and I disagree. He shouldn't be getting abused. He shouldn't be getting called nasty names. He shouldn't be having, being called certain pejoratives. He should be left alone in that regard, Nabil. But as far as I'm concerned, he is no longer world class. He is no longer one of the best in the world. He is no longer capable to play in a team in 2023 that want to play how Ten Hag does. He holds us back so dramatically. Stating that is not disrespectful. I'm respecting my club. I'm never going to slag him off. I'm not going to call him names. I'm not going to be nasty about him because of the 12-year service. He was our last Premier League, the last Premier League winner remaining at the club. He's won everything barring the Champions League at the club. So I'm not going to disrespect him. But at the same time, I'm not going to allow sentiment to set in and go, let's just give him a new deal then because of the service. That's how you regress as a football team. You need to be ruthless. You need to be harsh, and you need to move people on. Our greatest manager of all time, Sir Alex, would have done that. We should absolutely do it as well. And the deal being pulled away from him, I'm not surprised. The way he ended the season, those last 2 months, is a reason to change your mind about giving somebody a new deal. To give him the new deal is disrespectful. And as I've always said, I care more about Man United and our progression than I do anything else.
What was that tweet about where he tweeted
I think no one quite knows. It was cryptic. I think it's a little bit to do with the speculation about United have offered a deal and pulled it. He's having reservations about where he wants to go. There's talk about him going to Saudi Arabia. He's also getting married tomorrow, I believe. So there's almost this element of leave him alone. Leave him alone till after his wedding, if that makes sense. But wouldn't it be mad if halfway through his wedding ceremony, Man United announced the signing of Onana? Oh,
if they do something like that, that's just disrespectful. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's straight up
even if we do put the bid in tonight, I don't want us tweeting anything or here we go until after his wedding at least. That would be the nice thing. Having said that, though, it's not like we're making a working class man who earns £40,000 a year and has got 4 kids to feed redundant. It would be replacing a multi-millionaire with another multi-millionaire. So there's an element.
But this is a former United. This is a United Player of the Year. Come on, you can't do it to him on his wedding.
No, I do hear you on that. This is, yes, I agree, but Man United should have decided and let him go. Just tell him months ago that we aren't renewing your contract. But that isn't what's going on the bill. Read the room, read the stories. Man United want him to stay, but they're going to be letting him know that essentially he's going to be number 2. And if he's number 2, they're only willing to pay him number 2 salary, not £375,000 a week. By the way, De Gea is a number 2. I'm all up for that. That'd be one of the best number 2s in the league. That's a great number 2 to have come in for cup games and when there's injuries. But it's whether or not he wants to play second fiddle, my friend. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. We'll come back to United a little bit later because I want to get your take on some of the stuff regarding the takeover. But in West London, Chelsea going all in for the Uruguayan prodigy that is Moises Caicedo. An £80 million bid is expected for him. But they've been doing some good business this last week or so. We know that Ziyech has fallen through, and we'll get into that on the show. But Chelsea really are moving in the right direction now. And I think they've got rid of the majority of their dead wood. And it's all now about building that squad up. And what a start Caicedo would be along with Jackson.
Arsenal and Manchester United, this is your fault. This is 100% your fault. You gave them 125 million for Havertz and Mount. Which if I came on the football terrace a month ago and I said 125 million for Havertz and Mount, Terry would have been like, what? Are you crazy? He would have said that to my face, but here we are. 125. You have funded Caicedo and Nkunku. Just by that piece of business with you on Arsenal, you funded Caicedo and Nkunku right there. Unbelievable. Chelsea have went. I just want to say, I don't know what kind of GTA Vice City Todd Bowley and Iqbali are on. I don't know what the hell they're doing. How on earth have they managed to get that much money? That much money for these both, and then use that to invest into a midfielder who's so unbelievably better than the two they've let go of. Is just crazy to me. Caicedo is a huge upgrade on any player Chelsea have other than Enzo. Everyone knows how much I love Enzo, so I don't even want to say anything negative about the guy because I was crying about him last summer. He's a rival player now.
I know I said Uruguayan, I meant Ecuadorian. Slip of the tongue. Move on, comment section. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yes, hold that comment section. Anyway, so when it comes to Caicedo, I think you're looking at essentially at a double pivot of Caicedo and Enzo. What the actual this team just finished 12th, bro. This team just finished 12th. And they're now employing Caicedo and Enzo in the same midfield. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, Chelsea have already won the window. Chelsea are the winners of the transfer window. I'm gonna be completely honest. I hate Chelsea. I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't like Chelsea, but Chelsea have won the window. The way they're selling players and the way that they're selling players and the price that they're selling them for. And if these things do happen, and we're talking about the likes of Caicedo coming in and stuff, then they've just upgraded massively. Caicedo is better than every single midfielder at Chelsea Football Club, not called Enzo Fernandez, because I'm willing to give Enzo that respect. But the others, he's just a massive upgrade on them. And now you're talking about a midfield of Enzo and Caicedo together with possibly Nkunku on the 10 ahead of them. It's just unbelievable, man. So it's a masterstroke by Chelsea, absolute masterclass by Chelsea Football Club, what they've done. We'll see what they carry on doing. With Brighton, though, it'll be interesting because here's the thing. This is how sometimes in football, dominoes fall. This is what's going to be very interesting. If Tony Bloom looks at that bid that Arsenal made for Rice, and he goes nope, I want the exact money that they got for Declan Rice. That could be a thing. Make no mistake, that could genuinely be a thing for Tony Bloom, because he might just be looking at it okay, so you're telling me I'm going to sell Caicedo for 20 million less than Rice? He ain't 20 million less than Rice. He's going to think that on his brain. So we'll see how the dominoes fall. You could end up paying a whole lot of money for Caicedo if he does come, though. That's the thing.
They could. I don't know about win the window, but I get where you're coming from. Getting rid of the amount of players they have done so far is a very, very good job indeed. signing Caicedo is massive. I still think they need to buy some experience. I know they have Thiago. I know they've got Sterling. You could argue, Reece James has got a bit of experience, Chilwell. But outside of that, it's very sparse in terms of experience, especially in the middle. It's a very young squad. So I understand the building for the future. I respect that. But Chelsea are a giant football club. Man United proved last year that this notion of projects are a 3 to 4 season process before you should be expected to win is a myth. You can do it straight away when you're a big club with the right manager and when you spend money. Liverpool, even under Klopp, it took a couple of years and you were in a champion. You got into finals straight away. You weren't winning, straight away into finals. Then you won a Champions League in the league. So Chelsea have got to be aiming for, at the very least, to be getting to the domestic cup finals. They should be aiming to get back into the Champions League. If they get into Europa, if they just miss out next season, they've got to try and win whatever European competition they're in. I do think they need a little bit of experience to be added to the team. But we're on the 30th of June. There's 2 months left of this transfer window. They have raised £200 million. I know that Ziyech hasn't gone now, so he may have to stay. If there's, again, though, it depends how bad the knee issue is. He could go for a little bit of surgery tomorrow and within 6 weeks pass that same medical test and go. I'm sure Saudi will buy him after he has fixed whatever it is that he needs to have fixed, and they'll move him on. I don't really think it's not a big deal. And plus, his deal was only about 15 million, so they've still got the majority of that money. It's intriguing. But I do have a question about Chelsea. Do you think they may regret? Do you think there's a possibility they may regret the Kai Havertz and Mason Mount deal? Because everybody's celebrating it from a Chelsea standpoint. We're raising money. Fans like yourself are saying, I can't believe they've got so much money. It's a madness. Do you not believe there's a possibility that either one of them, or maybe both, could go to Arsenal and United respectively and get back to their very best and start to deliver and maybe make Chelsea look a little premature in their sale of the players?
Let me tell you why I think the answer to that question is no. Regardless of whether you think they're going to succeed or not, the truth of the matter is they didn't succeed at Chelsea as expected. Mason Mount didn't play to the level required at Chelsea. Havertz didn't play to the level required at Chelsea. So from a Chelsea perspective, yes, you might see them play better at Arsenal and Man United. So even in the positive case in which, let's assume for the sake of argument, Terry, they play good both clubs. So let's assume Havertz does well at Arsenal and Mount does well at Chelsea. And Mount does well at Man United. You look at that transfer. If you're a Chelsea fan, you're like, they just didn't deliver for my club anyway. So why should I care? But in my honest opinion is, I'm not even being biased. I think both are going to fail. I don't think Havertz or Mount will succeed. I just think both signings. Yep, I think both are just not going to work out. And I think Maddison ain't going to work out either. That's a different topic.
Why don't you think they're going to work out? Just not good enough?
I really don't think that they're good enough. I think Ten Hag and Arteta are fantastic managers, but I just don't think it works. For Mason Mount, I think it's a fit thing. So I think I just don't think Mount fits what's happening at Manchester United. With Havertz, I don't think he's good enough. I think with Havertz, it's an even deeper reason. With Mount, it's a fit thing, so I don't think he fits the football club. With Mason Mount, I think he just doesn't fit the football club. With Havertz, I think he's just not quality at all. I don't think he's good at all.
It's going to be. I think one of the two is going to do bits. I think one of the two is going to do something next year. And I suppose the only way Chelsea regret it is if Nkunku and their team doesn't progress and move forward. And I will say that. I ask questions. I'll answer my own question as well. There's the possibility if Nkunku doesn't deliver, if their project doesn't kick on to that next level, they may look at it and go, oh, how do we let that guy leave us? Could go the other way there. They're both as bad as you state at Arsenal and Man United. It's look at that. We raised 120 odd million pound for these two, and we're on to bigger and better things. So it's very, very interesting to see what's going to happen with it. It really is. This super chat says we are still far behind Liverpool, Arsenal, United, and City. This is from Di, as a Chelsea fan. Hell, even Newcastle, top 4 is the objective. Remember, rivals, we fell off, so don't panic. Lol is what he says here.
We're not panicking. I just think you've done unbelievable business, and I think you need to be investigated. This is worse than Man City.
Have you seen the new allegations against Man City? You seen the new allegations?
No, which allegation?
Although it's not a new allegation. I mean, I'm wrong for saying that. So there's a documentary that's come out on YouTube. Someone's made pretty good, actually. To be fair, probably very low budget, but very good. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be a Netflix thing. Netflix should have got hold of this and put more money behind it. But they've revealed the name of a man. His name is Jabbar Mohammed. He's a
Mm-hmm.
fixer. He's a broker from Abu Dhabi,
Mm-hmm.
who they can prove he personally paid. So he helped broker a deal between City and a sponsor, but he personally paid £30 million into City's bank accounts
Ooh.
rather than a sponsor. I'm paraphrasing it and boiling it down, but that's essentially what was said. And a lot of City fans think it's old news. It is old news, but for the first time, the name's been revealed of the individual, which gives the accusation more substance because you can research that guy and say, well, he never worked for the sponsor. You can't even say he was a CEO and he sponsored it and claimed he had nothing to do with the company and he had nothing to do with City. He's a broker in the middle. So now you know his name, you realize, well, but you received money from him. Why would a broker ever do that? In my lifetime, dealing with brokers and fixers and deal makers, they never part of any cash. That's quite literally the point of their job. They just take commission from both sides. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, very interesting what's happening with there with City. We've got a video dropping later today on that anyway. But yeah, very, very interesting indeed.
Is it with Nobbins by any way?
No. I just did the video in terms of breaking it down and everything else. Manny here says, this is where I agree with Lee Gunner about having Champions League football is a myth. Caicedo wanted Champions League football, but chose a 12th place Chelsea. He wants the dollar to pay his family. But Manny Soto, this is where Lee's right, but not as a carpet statement, not as a sweeping statement that covers everybody. That Champions League football helps you sign players is specific and nuanced to every player because we're different. I implore, this is the example I'm going to give. People should go and do a food intolerance test. Go and do and you'll find me and my brother both did one. Same mum, same dad, similar age, grew up the same way, same vaccine, same everything in our lives, right? The foods he's intolerant to or has a lower threshold of tolerance to compared to me are completely different. So two brothers can't eat the same things. This works with footballers. You could have two people from the same country, the same age, who are motivated by two completely different things as their main key motivator in life. And for Caicedo, money is really important to him because he's sorting. And again, just because someone's motivated by money isn't a bad thing. He'll keep working hard for that because he's supporting his immediate and intimate and connected family. So for him, it's like if I can earn an extra £100,000 a week here, that's £5 million more a year to fund my family. That's going to motivate him. But there are other players who might want Champions League football. So if you're in the Champions League, Manny, you've got an extra string to your bow that you can get the players that want it, but equally you've got more money. So if someone's motivated by cash, you can also get them. So it doesn't mean you can't sign big players being out of the Champions League. It just means you've got more resources and ability to sign different types of players. So there's no one right answer, but I'd rather be in the Champions League than out of it because I believe you have more chance of getting people being in it, if that makes sense.
And Manny, that's why earlier on I said it's not just about Champions League football. Terry's spitting right now. It's not just about, oh my God, who has Champions League football. By that logic, then just Newcastle are more attractive than both Liverpool and Chelsea, which no one here believes. If I said Newcastle is more attractive than Liverpool and Chelsea because they have Champions League football, you'd all laugh. Because I don't agree with it either. It's not a correct statement. It's not just Champions League. Because also from the player's perspective, who he thinks is going to consistently get Champions League is what plays a bigger role. So this whole many players won't believe that Newcastle are going to get top 4 next season if Newcastle approach them. So that's the thing.
Of course. And I think as well, if you're consistently in the Champions League and you're competitive within it, that shows more stability within your football club than a team that goes 3rd, 5th, 4th, 8th, 2nd. For a player, they might say, well, one club looks more stable than the other. There are so many factors to work into these situations. There is no magic glove, one size fits all. And I think those kind of statements are kind of dead now when it comes to fan punditry, fan media, content creation, because there is no hard and fast rule that dictates. There might be an individual player that wants that, unless a bigger offer is made elsewhere and something else becomes a new motivator. But I get where you're coming from. This here says, Sam Lee Gunner, okay, again, pessimistic view in football ain't a good look. Rivals signs a player equals fell. Paul sign a player equals nothing opinion. I don't know. It's so
Matthias, why are you always crying? Why? Like you're the biggest cry arse in the comment section. Honestly, you know what's funny? Terry asked me about Mount to Liverpool a month ago, and I said Mount would suck at Liverpool. And if we sign with James Ward-Prowse, I'm not going to come here and say, oh my God, he's a good signing. I've spoken negatively and positively about your football club and mine. This is why I can't win. The Liverpool fans accuse me of being negative, and then I come on here and they tell me, oh my God, you're positive toward your own signings. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Manny says 100% agree, Terry. Not like Chelsea are a small club. That's also true. Absolutely. Why do you rate Messi? Because of his technical ability, not because of the amount of goals that he scores. That's why Salah's overrated. I'm going to say also why CR7 isn't hyped as much. I'm going to say this now. CR7 was hyped as much. There's no doubt. All that you're seeing happen to CR7 is he went on too long at the highest level of the game, and he's game dipped, and people are like pulling on him. Messi is not just lauded because of his technical ability; it's the technical ability and his goals combined. If he had the same technical ability but was averaging five assists and 5 goals per season, he wouldn't have been the Ballon d'Or winner. He is one of the greatest footballers of all time because he has both together. The same as Cristiano Ronaldo, the same as Ronaldinho, Maradona, George Best. These guys had GA and they had the technical ability. That is why, from an attacking point of view, they are the best of the best. Equally, there are very few players who score at Mo Salah's level, create at Mo Salah's level, assist at Mo Salah's level, or as consistent as Mo Salah, who are bad technicians. Now, does it mean he's the best technician? No. But to say he's a bad technician when he scores what he does, it's impossible. To score those level of goals, you need fantastic technique to be able to find the back of the net so regularly. It's literally a technique. And I don't understand why it gets played down so much. You know, it is what it is.
And I don't know why people always want to choose. Why is it GA or technique? How
Both.
about combination? How about both? Like, it's just Messi, by the way, many people said Messi was the GOAT when he had that 91 goal calendar year, when he broke Gerd Muller's thing.
Yeah.
So goals do matter in football. Goals matter. For me, Messi is my GOAT. My GOAT is Lionel Messi. For me, it's just because he's better than anything I've ever seen. But that includes goal scoring too.
You know what's really funny? Yeah.
That's the thing.
I put a couple of comps up on my Twitter feed recently. One of Giggs, 39 years old, playing against Real Madrid. And I had people in the comments going, I didn't realize he was this good. I'm like, it's because if you're young, you didn't watch Ryan Giggs. And that was 39 years old playing by the way, playing right midfield against Real Madrid in the Champions League at 39. And like, oh, he was so good. I went, yeah, he was a great technician. You know, players like him in his role weren't judged solely on GA back then because he wasn't an attacker. He was a midfield player. I also put one up of Scholes versus Argentina in 2002 at the World Cup. People were like, oh my God, he pulled out. And I said, that was a brilliant Argentina team as well. And we beat them and it eventually knocked them out the group stage. And, you know, sometimes people just, there's a combination of two things you need to have: eye test and goals as an attacker. De Gea, the last Premier League winner in the Man United squad, is not the problem. Sure, conceded more than needed, but the defense needs an overhaul. So again, but you're going back to what United fans were saying 12 months ago. There is no one problem. And De Gea's shot stopping isn't the biggest issue. It's his inability to play out from the back. He loses the ball on average 17 times per game via an unforced error. That's whether his passing's bad, he gives it to an opponent, he overhits the pass, or he bangs it into an area where a player might get the first touch, but he's crowded out by people. He makes the wrong decisions. Those are the areas, Ben, that he needs to improve on for me. Did Pops want some of their players out or the board? Both. You can't work with a board that big. I wanted to ask you about Arsenal, mate. Of course, it's been a huge week for Arsenal. They're on the verge of landing Urian Timber as their next summer signing. The Declan Rice deal is done. So first of all, I want to ask you about the Declan Rice deal because you were someone that said they weren't serious. You didn't believe that they would get it done. I think you were very skeptical as to whether or not they would pay the money that was required. But they broke the British transfer record, 105 million. They're about to land Urian Timber. I know you don't rate Kai Havertz, but he's one of their targets. They've done £200 million. Talk to me about the Gooners.
Finally, they've shown what I said they should shown 2, 3, 4, 5 times on the show. I said Arsenal Football Club need to be serious. Arsenal Football Club can't be signing no random guys. People were upset at me in the comment section because I said they need to sign Rice, not Lavia. And people were like, oh, we trust Arteta. Okay, I'm glad you trust Arteta. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying. So you see, Declan Rice is someone who definitely elevates Arsenal's midfield. I agree with the statement that Terry said. At minimum, he's probably top 3 players at Arsenal as soon as he comes in. So it's either Saka, Odegaard, and him. I'd say are probably the best 3 players. So I think Arsenal need Declan Rice a lot more than City need Declan Rice. So I think Declan Rice is definitely someone who could take Arsenal's midfield to the next level. You play him alongside a midfielder who's good defensively. You've got Odegaard ahead of them. That's an unbelievable midfield right there. Jurian Timber is an unbelievably underrated, incredible signing as well, because you look at Jurian Timber and you're like, okay, so the time that Rob Holding has had for Arsenal this season wasn't as good. So like, when they had to play Rob Holding, they kind of had a drop-off period. They didn't play as well. Defensively, they weren't solid. Timber offers you that now. And Timber can invert from the right-hand side. And Timber can invert into midfield because he's such an unbelievable football player. So with Jurian Timber, I think he's definitely someone who's an unbelievable centre-back. Unbelievable centre-back at that price tag for Arsenal Football Club. I think just last year, Ten Hag wanted him before he wanted Lisandro as well, which shows you like, okay, Timber's like serious. So I think Rice and Timber both are very, 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 very good signings. I think both these signings are going to be unbelievable for Arsenal Football Club. And I think I could genuinely see Declan Rice becoming Arsenal captain in these next 2, 3, 4 years. I think he could definitely be someone who could become the captain of the football club. But this is where I cannot agree with everything Arsenal do blindly. I'm not an Arsenal fan. Kai Havertz will flop at Arsenal. I said it. I love this whole tacticals and all this coming out and saying he's gonna play the Shaka role and blah blah blah. Only thing he has a similarity with Shaka is that they're left-footed and tall. There is no other similarity with Shaka and Havertz. Havertz is not a midfielder. If you play Havertz in midfield defensively, you've absolutely killed yourself. Zinchenko and Havertz on that left-hand side. Do you understand what a striker like or a forward or a inside forward or a winger like a Salah or just someone with a bit of P&P would do to that side? That side is gonna be just absolutely shredded. So I like 2 out of the 3 signings. I think 2 out of the 3 signings are unbelievable, and I think the Rice signing for me is the one that's just gonna elevate Arsenal Football Club above and beyond. But we'll see. I think they need one more piece, dependent on who goes. Okay, you see, if they keep Partey, now this whole thing is like, now that midfield, like Rice, Partey, and Odegaard, that's a midfield and a half right there. That's an unbelievable midfield. If they sell Partey, then they do need a little bit of a replacement. That's the thing. So I think they sell Partey. Now you probably need a little bit of a Partey replacement. There was a guy who kind of broke down all the Arsenal departures as well. I can't lie. They're probably going to sell maybe around 120, 130, 140 million worth of players too. So they've got a lot to sell too. So for me, Arsenal Football Club are showing intent. They're showing seriousness, which matters. We will see if they sign more players or if they like which position they sign in as well is what I think is important. For me, I think the steal of the window for them is Timber, because he's the guy that kind of changes where it went wrong for Arsenal this season. And with Declan Rice's perspective, I think he's just unbelievable. He's an unbelievable signing. British record transfer fee. Hey, if 10 years ago I met Terry and I told him 100 million for a DM, he would have laughed in my face. Now here we are. 100 million, 105 million 10 years ago. This is 2023 right now. 10 years ago, just 6 months before the summer, Fernando Torres moved to Chelsea for 50 million. And that's Fernando Torres. So when I say Fernando Torres, you're talking about Harry Kane, essentially level player, moving for 50 million. So that's like, just so you can understand the levels. So 105 million for a DM, this transfer market is going mad. It's going mad.
The transfers have changed, the money has changed, there's no doubt. I think on Jurian Timber, I think he's a phenomenal piece of business for Arsenal. I really, really do. I rate him highly. He's a great technician. He's versatile. He's got good speed. He's got youth on his side. And I think the deal's done. I think the deal's already done. I think they're waiting. could be waiting until after today because a lot of clubs, their end of year accounting is the end of June. So from an FFP point of view, that it won't impact them for maybe 3 years. It depends when they file their FFP accounts, because that's once every 3 years. Chelsea's ends today. I think Man United's ends today as well. And then from tomorrow, you essentially have 3 years to fix up if you overspend in year one, if that makes sense. So I think you'll see a lot of business start to kick in from tomorrow. That's a great bit of business. I agree with everything you said about Rice. He is transformative. He'll be their captain. And a lot of Gooners don't like hearing that because they love Odegaard. I'm not even saying it as an insult. It's if you had a good free kick taker at your team, but you signed James Ward-Prowse, Prowse will become your free kick taker. Just because,
Easily.
because he's better. If you have Declan Rice join this Arsenal team, I can't think of a team in the top 6 who has a better captain than Declan Rice. Off the top of my head, Gundogan has just left City, so they don't. Man United's captain. Listen, I'd have Bruno as our captain over. I'd have Rice as our captain over Bruno any day of the week. I know that Maguire is officially our captain, but I see Bruno as my captain. Henderson is a very good captain, but he's aging out now. He needs to be moved on. Declan Rice is that good. The Kai Havertz still, I'm not going to lie, I'm the same as you. Well, I'm not as harsh as you. I don't think he's definitely going to flop. Him like Mason Mount and Man United, I find so intriguing. I find it's almost like what's going to happen here? How is this going to work out? How is this going to look? Midfield is what Arteta responds.
Can him and Odegaard coexist? That's the $1 million question.
I don't know. I don't know if they can, and I get why people are challenging that. But that's what I'm intrigued about. It's almost this. Nobody saw Mason Mount going to Man United. Nobody saw at all Kai Havertz going to Arsenal. If 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, you'd have made those predictions, you'd have been laughed out.
Thank you.
You would have been laughed at. That doesn't mean that you can't look for reasons as to why it works. I've been sitting there watching compilations. I've been on Y Scout, studying Mason Mount, what he's good at, what he's bad at, how I think it's going to work. I haven't really worked it out yet, but that isn't really my job. You know, no fan. Some are tacticos and they break down tactics really detailed. But all they're really doing when they do that is reading something a genuine coach has said, and they're plagiarizing it and they're looking for examples. They don't really know it and understand it. How I know that is they couldn't. Most of them can't go into a room and teach that to kids or to grown-ups on how to play. Some are qualified coaches, so they're good at it. But if you were that good at breaking down tactics and formations and coaching, you wouldn't be on YouTube talking about it. You would be a goddamn coach. So, and I don't even mean that as a dig. Like I've done tactical breakdowns, but I do it as from a fan's point of view. I don't try to act smarter than the next person because I'm not. Like I said earlier, Onana plays a ball that breaks lines and flows into the midfield. And we've got loads of space in front of us to run into. I don't even know what you call that kind of attack. For me, it's just like a direct move. I don't know if it's got a name. A tactical would know the exact name of it, so he sounds more knowledgeable. But we both know the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just we both know the same shit. I just don't know what it's called. No, I'm being serious. I don't know what it's called. I don't even care what it's called. But
oh my god! It's like when you say offensive transition for counter attack, defensive transition, defending counter attack, ball progression for a forward pass, ball carrying for dribbling. It's just fancy names, man.
Someone said to me, "We need a person who progresses the ball well." I was like, "Can you break that down?" I think it may have been Einstein that said this. If somebody can't explain something in simple terms, they don't understand it. And what people do when they don't understand things is they make it sound scientific so that you go, "Oh, I'm not going to challenge him because I might look stupid." It's a very clever thing to do. But yeah, look, I think Arsenal have done some great business. We've got a lot of super chats here on Arsenal. The first one says, Declan Rice turned down City for Arsenal, but if Liverpool matched our bid, he would pick you. Oh my God, lying is haram, you donut.
So I'm glad you had your moment of fame. So, you know, I'm glad you waited an hour and 5 minutes just to say that. So I appreciate your super chat. But he would 100% have picked Liverpool Football Club had we come in for him. We just don't have the money. Stop confusing money to pull. Those are two different things. Please understand. One phone call from Klopp, he would have been a Liverpool player. Come on, man. We just don't have the money. We don't have the money. That's the problem.
Z here says, Arsenal doing their business early is what will give them a head start when the season begins. I think the striker issue would be next season. It may be. It depends on who you sell. I mean, you go and add like a Vlahovic to this Arsenal team now, or an Osimhen, whew, they're well in
Now
that.
they're cooking.
They're very much. This transfer window not shown you anything? You have seen our pool. Liverpool squad is aged out, and all the superstars are about to retire.
That super chat is very FIFA based, because just because a player's 30, that doesn't mean he has to retire. FIFA has ruined the whole generation. Come Dian. That's number one. Number two, you're confusing money spent for pull. Once again, those are two different complete arguments. You give Jurgen Klopp 300 million, you give Arteta 300 million, they go for the same targets. Klopp gets the targets. It's as simple as that.
This here says Arsenal have been top of the league more times than anyone else in the Premier League era at New Year's. What is your point for top of the league mid-season? I don't know what that's in reference to. I don't know what that means, but I get all the words, but I don't understand the context of your question. I don't think any of us have said anything about that, have we?
No, I didn't even mention the league. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. So thanks for the super chat, but I don't know what it's in reference to, Benny boy. You are also underestimating Arsenal's pool now that we're back. Even journalists have been saying agents are throwing their players at Arsenal.
No one's underestimating your pull. I'm just saying there's another guy in the same league who has bigger pull than you. You know what your problem is as Arsenal fans? Like, you just have a massive inflated ego. Like, look at me. Some people would think I'm egotistical. I've already said City have a better pull than us. I'd have no problem saying Bayern have a better pull than us. Madrid, Barca, these clubs, like, it's okay, bro. It's okay. For probably the first 20 years of my life, Arsenal had better pull than us. If you asked me 8 years ago who's more attractive to go to, I would have said Arsenal. There's no reason for you to cry, man. You guys are so, like, just always want to cry for some reason. Like, bro, like, if you ask me in 2006, 2007, 8, 9, 2006, we were Champions League winners, not just finished second. I would have still said it's more attractive to go to Arsenal. Like, be real, man. Unbelievable.
Mount is a better signing than Rice. You will see, is what Michael Ramsey says here.
That's a hot take.
That is very hot. They're going to give you blisters, bro. You're going to get blisters in your mouthpiece on that one. If Chelsea gets Caicedo and adds a top striker, are they in the top 4?
It's just that gelling thing, because gelling is a real problem. Like, could you get all these signings to play well? If Pochettino could do that, then yeah, definitely they could get top 4. Nothing's impossible. 1 game a week. Why not?
They've got a chance. They should be challenging for it no matter what they do. They've definitely got a chance. Solomon here says Arsenal are keeping Ethan, I think it's pronounced Nwaneri. This is a big plus. He realizes Arsenal is the best place for young players after Man City and Chelsea allegedly looked to sign him up. Look at Amari Hutchinson after leaving Chelsea. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Big renewal. I think he's not even signed a pro contract. I think he signed another academy contract with Arsenal, is what I read today. He was the young guy that made a debut, I think, last season that caused crazy outcries on socials for some weird reason. But yeah, massive renewal there for Arsenal, because he's highly tipped, that young man. Off topic, trying to start my own business online. How do you guys keep pushing even when things go wrong in your personal life? I'm 20, need advice.
You've got to separate work from these things. That's how I go by things. We were all different, but for me personally, I look, we all go through tough times. We all go through problems. Like, you need to separate your work. Like, I'm a streamer, right? I do YouTube. I always have to stream. I've got to stream at least 1 hour a day on my channel. And regardless of whatever the hell is going on, I have to do it. Even if there's stuff going on or I'm traveling or whatever. So you have to just create that separation in your mind between business and those things. And listen, if it's a problem with your girl, I'm just gonna say something uncomfortable, but it's the reality. Your business is harder to replace than her if she's not supporting it. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna just say it as it is. Sorry. Say it as it is.
Get rid of her. Man said, get rid of her.
Just say it as it is.
Yeah, look, I agree with you got to learn to separate. I've had a lot of issues this last 8-9 months, still going on now. I've still got really bad health anxiety, which I'm working through with therapy and going back to the gym. But I still think about having a heart attack 30-40 times a day. Any little twinge, any little feeling, any little pain. I'm thinking it's that, and it takes a long while to get over it. And therapists have said it's not a quick fix, Terry. It's going to be about 18 months to 2 years on average to get through it. Because I've developed, they call it health anxiety now, but it's what hypochondria is. I'm not a hypochondriac about everything. It's literally having a heart attack. Everything else I'm relaxed about in life. So, but I can't not work. I have to feed my children. I have to pay my mortgages. I have to keep pushing on and pushing forward. And it's a hard thing to do, but you just got to suck it up sometimes and work through it, my friend. And so I hope that things work themselves out for you, but you've just got to persevere. You feel better when you persevered through it. And that's the only way of actually getting out the other end of the situation. Otherwise, you'll create, if you stop working, you create another problem financially. So you might fix one issue, and you've got this another big dark hole in your life to fix. So try not to create other problems in the meantime, is what I would say.
Good luck, Lamar.
If Chelsea add Caicedo, a Cam, a striker, and possibly a goalkeeper with Nkunku and an underrated add a right back Gusto, does that mean putting him in the top 4? I mean, you just said a minute with the striker, and yeah, look, I agree. I agree. I think if they sign all of those players, they've got to be in the top 4 race. There's no doubt. Sam, would Messi still be your GOAT if Cristiano Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or at Liverpool instead of Man United? Don't lie.
Of course. I don't measure it at just using, who played for my club. I'd never claim any Liverpool player is the greatest Premier League player of all time. Though the only guy I actually have as the greatest in his position is everyone here knows Gerrard. But other than that, I'm not saying Trent's the greatest right back or Van Dijk's the greatest centre back or Salah's the greatest forward. I respect people's accomplishments, their achievements, their individual level. But for me, with Messi, I'm actually very complex and complicated when it comes to debating regulars. So if we're doing a Salah Hazard debate, we'll talk and we'll get down to the details and all that. When it comes to Messi, the reason he's the greatest of all time for me, I don't even need any details or he won the World Cup or he done this or he done that. For me, it's just that when watching football, I don't think I've ever seen a more complete player that does everything on the football pitch to at such an unbelievable level. Goal scoring, dribbling, creation, everything. Like, he just has it all. Honestly, there's nothing that Lionel Messi can do on the pitch, and he's an unbelievable goal scorer too. So for me, when it comes to the GOAT debate, I just look at Messi and I'm like, man, this is the greatest of all time. That's it for me.
There we go. I don't know how you judge Havertz when we don't know where he plays.
I don't think he has the quality regardless of where he'll play. He's not better than Jesus. He's not better than Odegaard, and he definitely can't replace Xhaka. So good luck.
Alexa, play Rice Baby by Vanilla Ice and add Timber by Pitbull featuring Keisha to the queue. Still buzzing. Terry is crazy. Hassam is coping and hoping for Kai to flop, and we don't have and we don't have SFL.
Who's SFL?
As a coach.
Who's SFL?
I don't know who that is, but Manny, thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate that greatly.
I'm
Liam,
not coping or hoping. He's gonna fail.
Thanks for that super chat, Liam. This here says any Arsenal fan that gets offended by Rice, possibly taking the armband of Odegaard, need to get their heads examined. Yeah, absolutely. It's not even deep.
Yeah.
It just could happen. Where does Arsenal midfield rank in the league?
Shit.
We have to wait.
Rice, Partey, Odegaard, second best behind City.
Well, if you look at the overall midfield, if they keep Partey, Rice, Odegaard, their backups being Jorginho and El Neni, it's very good. It's very good. And you may even add Lavia to that. You add Lavia to it as well. And yeah, only City's is better, in my opinion, on paper.
Yeah, I agree. City definitely better.
Now Arsenal are back. We have Paul. If you actually had a good Paul, you would have been back in to attract players. Basically, you've got small Paul, is what Sean says here.
I think he's talking about Arsenal, no?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
We'll see. Listen, the strong pull comes with time. We didn't have strong pull just because we won one UCL. When we competed consistently, that's when you create a strong pull for yourself.
Ben came back, actually, and said, definitely mention the league and being top at mid-season. It was sent 30 minutes ago, so I can understand you not remembering. Yeah, I just don't remember the maybe he did, but I can't remember what your I don't want you to super chat again, just because I don't want. But if you do, you do. I'm just saying you don't need to. I don't understand the context of what you're saying. I didn't get your point with what that meant. It just didn't make sense to me. Sorry, my friend. My God, these Arsenal fans are insufferable, is what
Notice I'm only criticizing one signing out of the three, and they're shouting. Unbelievable.
Nabil here says, see, this is what I'm talking about yesterday regarding Arsenal. They hype things up so much or find an excuse. They are just annoying, just like after 19th league game last season, they thought they had won the league. Is what Nabil says.
Nabil is such a, Nabil, I clocked. You're just a professional hater. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, he is.
You're just a professional hater. You just hate everything not Man United, and I love it. I love it. You're like proper tribalistic.
He hates most things Man United as well. To be fair,
he just hates everything.
He says, I don't play FIFA, and Van Dijk, Hendo, Firmino, Thiago, the cornerstone of your team, are all gone and about to retire. Only Salah is still looking good. Bayern wanted Timber. Rice, they both told them to piss off.
Comdian, you've got a bigger problem if you think Arsenal have a bigger pull than Bayern Munich. To be honest with you, sometimes. Comdian, bro, thank you for the super chat, but I have no idea what you're smoking. Honestly, whatever you're smoking, in the words of Liverpool's owner, what are they smoking over there at the Emirates? We need to find out, like, what are they smoking? This is unbelievable. There is no way you think you got better pull than Bayern Munich. There is genuinely no way you actually believe that. That's insane. That's insane, honestly. The levels of, like, how delusional can you be? Bayern Munich, consistent Champions League, essentially guaranteed league title on your resume. Come on, man. Comdian, bro. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, wallahi. Unbelievable.
Sanchez picked Arsenal over Liverpool, is what David says.
Yes. Arsenal were more attractive to go to 10 years ago, which I said. David, I said it. I'm saying Liverpool are more attractive now, David, for the love of God.
Comdine said, I didn't say that, but we are getting there.
No, you're not getting to Bayern level yet. You need to chill. That's what I'm saying. Pull comes after a while. After we won the Champions League, we don't just it automatically become, oh my God, Liverpool are the most attractive club in the world because they're Champions League winners. No. After we won the league the following season and we showed consistent competitiveness and you've got world-class players, all that plays a part. Please understand, when a player wants to play football, he cares about who his teammates are. Just please understand, teammates matter. When I call Spuerchat and I'm like, you're going to play next to Salah and Van Dijk and Trent, it's different to saying, come play next to Sean Longstaff. These things matter, you guys. Like the players, the manager, has the project won or not yet? And you haven't won yet. So chill before you start talking Bayern Munich levels. You're mad, Comdian. I'll be honest with you.
And Nabil come back and he said, you can say that. I'm a professional hater with laughing emojis. But Terry, you're wrong. I hate the Glazers when it comes to Man United. No, I get you on that. And I was also just playing as well, by the way. Debbie's got a question for you here, Sam. Hassam, what's your reaction to more City charges?
My reaction is I want the comment section to spam 116 in the comment section right now. Just spam the number 116. Forget writing paragraphs. Just spam 116. City are so corrupt, man. So corrupt. And I honestly, if they ever get charged and they're ever found guilty, I would throw the biggest party. And I want Arsenal to be handed their league title. I want our league title in 13-14. Hell, you can even give Oli a league title. I couldn't care less. I just want these bastards charged. I've had enough with these guys. I've just had enough of Man City, man. I've had enough. Big up comment section. Keep spamming 116. Keep spamming 116 at these frauds. Manchester City. Big Steve tried to call me out and he came here and I cooked him anyway. So there's nothing there's nothing you can say. City are a fake club. They're a plastic club. This could have been anyone else. It's as simple as that. Let's just stop acting like City are a thing now.
This is what it says about it. It goes, UEFA investigation into Man City concluded that two £15 million payments from a broker were funded by the club's owner, disguised as sponsors' revenue. It goes on to state here that the management of the club was well aware of the payments totaling 30 million made by Jabir Mohammed when made as equity funding, not as payments for sports sponsorship for the account's genuine sponsorship liabilities. But the reason that the reason that they weren't able to use this to punish them is because it was time barred, because it's all based out of Switzerland, where UEFA is from, and there's a statute of limitations, which meant that it already passed that. In UK law, this doesn't exist. So as much as this is old news, This is the first time it's been revealed the name of a person, what his job was. And this would be a worry for me as a City fan. And the worry would be before the question's been, well, prove there's something like there's been something going on. It's just emails. This is all relating to those emails that have been leaked. But when you say prove that it's just emails, now you're naming people that made payments. So there's clearly a lot more evidence than what we have seen.
Fact.
And for me, if you've got a broker, I mean, this looks quite legit, right? Let's see what comes of it. They may be found innocent still, but with no time barring, and remember, no rights to appeal if the Premier League finds them to be guilty. It's peak news right now. It's peak news for Man City. There's no doubt about it. It really, really is. It's worrying times for them in relation to that. This year's Lance Armstrong FC is what George says there. I like that. Terry, Man United talks about, MUCU talks about the break barrier of 700 million revenue. The FFP and Premier League needs to hold City accountable. Otherwise, you won't stop Newcastle as well. Look, if they've broken rules, they have to be held accountable. You're absolutely right. If they're proven to not have broken rules, and there was just an anomaly in this, then we'll know from it. And that's why they do deserve their day in court, whether you like them or not. So, Terry, what's stopping United from ending the same situation as City if Qatar takeover is complete? So I don't think Manchester. The thing is that none of the accusations of City cheating have taken place in the last 3 to 4 years. It's all prior to that. If they've cheated, and this is the big if, what they looks like they've done is they have inflated their revenue in the early stages to allow them to build the teams and the foundations that led to where they are now. So they've had to inflate their revenues to new levels so they could build a team as quickly as they did. And by the way, to win the Champions League, it still took them 13, 14 years. For Man United, we already have the natural organic revenues. There is no need to have to inflate them. So I don't see it happening personally. Man United also, if Qatar Airways sponsor us and it's £100 million a year, it's justifiable based on our fan base size. So even when the new rules come in around how much you're being paid versus the size of your fan base and the stature of your club, Man United are already built. They're already massive. So I just don't see it happening with us in the same way that it's happening with City. But if we do break rules and break laws, you will see me be as harsh on my club as I am Man City, because it's not about bias for me. It's about fair play. And whether people agree with FFP or not, our clubs sign up to adhere to the rules. So I'm actually going to shut down any debate that happens on the terrace now where people go, yeah, but FFP is bullshit. That's irrelevant to the conversation. You have signed up to the rules. There are some people that don't think fat pills that burn fat that you buy in Holland and Barrett's legally should be classed as a performance-enhancing drug at the Olympics. But they are. And if you agree to sign up to those rules and you take a fat burner pill, it doesn't matter if you think it's a stupid rule, you broke the rules still. You've got to adhere to them. That's what you signed up for. Arsenal might have bigger pool than Bayern Munich right now, but it's because we're challenging for the Prem, not because we're bigger. The Prem pool is crazy, is what 20 says.
I think the Premier League pool is crazy, but I think it stops at certain clubs. When it comes I think Tottenham would be more attractive than Dortmund to some players. It's just because of the whole Premier League thing. But when it comes to Bayern, it's different because they compete consistently in the Champions League every year too. So that's what separates Bayern Munich from the rest of that league. And essentially, they win it every year anyway. It's like saying signing for PSG versus signing for Montpellier. It's two different things, man.
No, I hear you on that completely. I can super chat, bro. It's fine if you can. He says, I got money. No problem. I respect that. No worries. It comes and goes. Love your work. Thank you. Also, Arsenal moved to compete with the likes of Bayern Munich. Where are we now? But this is exactly it. I will say this about Arsenal. You're moving back to this is where you should have been maybe a year or two after moving to the Emirates. It's taken a long time, but they're getting you there. And the expectations are now high for Arsenal. And let's see how they deliver against it. Manny here says, Arsenal fans having some fun because we were acting like a big club and it's the end of the world for rivals. Nabil, for example, Frank Lampard. Oh, that's who it is. Super Frank Lampard. I get it.
Okay.
I get it now. We are league preference makes a difference. Plus, you just said our midfield is second behind City. So is our backline. So is our front and backline.
No, they're not. We're saying when I say when it comes to pull and attraction, I'm saying you want to play next to certain players. So now Would you rather play next to Salah or Saka? Salah. Would you rather play next to Van Dijk or Saliba? Van Dijk. Would you rather play next to Trent or blah, blah, blah? The answer is going to be a Liverpool player regardless. So that's just the reality. You would want to play next to players who have been there, done that. That's not an insult. Like, you need to stop taking everything as an insult. You're getting there, but you need to get there first in order for you to be part of that conversation.
Sorry, wrong one. It's not just it's not about better pool than other clubs, but the player must say no to other teams. I think.
Yes.
Look, yeah, pool is part of it. Money's part of it. Different things motivate different people. Who they grew up wanting to play for. There's so many factors. Arsenal fans are having. Oh, sorry, already done this one.
Yeah, you're right.
This year it says, I'm an Arsenal fan and I dislike our fans. I get support, but no matter what, I don't throw away logic, stats, and reasonable questions. Big up, inshallah, is what.
Thank you. Last time, actually, most Arsenal fans supported what I said. And Arsenal fans are not even saying anything negative against you. I'm saying Declan Rice, I'm saying Timber are great signings. I think he can compete for the league next season. I'm just saying I've got bigger pull right now. Simple as that. It's not even an insult. These guys need to stop taking everything personal, man. Unbelievable. They're taking it personally all the time.
Mate, it's all fun and games. Listen, mate, I want to say a big thank you for coming on. As always, my viewers, you're absolutely amazing. We'll be back tonight with some more content for you, so keep your eyes out for it, the same as over the weekend, no doubt about it. Please hit like buttons before you go, and make sure you go now and turn the bell and notification buttons on so you don't miss any more of our live streams. But until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all